Today on the Stephen A. Smith Show on Mad Dog Sports Radio that there would be a trade, and that became official this morning. Adam Schefter reporting that the Cowboys are acquiring Bengals middle linebacker Logan Wilson for a 7th-round pick. Wilson did have 11 interceptions over the last 5.5 seasons, so that's good. That is a boost to the defense that we've talked now this morning already about how terrible it is. But the question now, is that enough? Stephen A., I know Jerry alluded to you that maybe there would be more trades today. The Logan Wilson trade, it doesn't feel like a big enough oomph, but what do you think?
No, of course not. It's not going to mean anything. It's too late for all of that. I think that, this is why you don't let go of Micah Parsons. Or as Chris Canty would say, if you're going to let him go, you let him go in the off season so you have the maneuverability to do the things that you need to do in order to make sure your team is complete coming into the season. We're halfway through it now, and the Dallas Cowboys are already in a hole they're not going to be able to dig themselves out of. There's entirely too much assistance that they need. Now, Overshown, once he comes back, he's going to be a big help for them, obviously, him being back and what have you. But and Logan Wilson can play. We get that part. But you look at the Dallas Cowboys, there's so many areas that they seem to have to fill. And to find themselves in this hole, this is where the management of Jerry Jones, I'm not telling y'all anything that I haven't told him. I know we have a great relationship and what have you, but I'm very, very candid with him, not just on television, but off the air as well. I'm looking at him like, yo, what you waiting for? If you're going to do something, you got to do it. You can't, first of all, I don't believe you traded Micah Parsons, but if you're going to trade him, you don't trade him within the conference, in my opinion. I say you trade him to the AFC. That would have been me. And I certainly would have traded him earlier where I would have gotten more compensation than 2 late first-round picks and Kenny Clark. I would not have done that. So that's just me. And you're saying these kind of things, listening to you guys, because all of y'all teach me football as far as I'm concerned. Damn it, I didn't play the game. Y'all did. And so I listen to you, Jeff. I listen to you, CC. I listen to all the contributors and that come on the show that played this game and know what the hell they're talking about. And everybody is in agreement that if you're going to move Micah Parsons, you gotta do it early, and you got to make sure you get the kind of equitable compensation necessary. To do this now, it would have made more sense if they had won last night. But the fact that, they lost to Arizona last night and they're in the kind of hole that they're not going to be able to dig themselves out of, it just seems a little bit too little, too late. And it's an exercise of futility simply because of when you did it.
Yeah, Logan Wilson is not coming to save the season for the Dallas Cowboys. Right. And candidly, I don't think the Dallas Cowboys should be making any huge splashy moves before the trade deadline, especially guys that would be considered rentals, guys on the wrong side of 30, guys in expiring contracts, because this team is not competing this year. If you want to treat the trade deadline as pre-agency and make a move for a guy that you're looking to acquire in the offseason, or make a move for a guy that's at a position of need that doesn't necessarily, have a lot of stock with the draft picks that are coming out of college ranks, that makes sense. But if you're the Dallas Cowboys, going out and trying to get a guy like Trey Hendrickson is not what you need to be trying to do.
No.
Going out and making those types of moves, that's not where the Dallas Cowboys are. Right now, the win for the Dallas Cowboys is being able to figure out whether or not you can form an identity the rest of this season that will allow you to have success moving forward. And a big part of figuring that out is trying to decide whether or not you got the right guy at the controls with Brian Schottenheimer as your head coach.
Yeah. I fully agree. I think that when you talk about this time for the Dallas Cowboys, this is about nucleus building. It's taking the 10 to 12 guys on your team who you want to build around, and let's find them. And if Logan Wilson's going to be one of those guys, you decide to bring him in for the next 2 or 3 years. Hey, he's going to fill a need that we've had the last couple of years, which is true. They haven't been good at the second level, right? Overshown's a beast, but he's been injured, so he'll come back. Those two will be, and they'll be a good mid-range like linebacker crew, right? Yeah. And so with the potential of being good, but if you're the Dallas Cowboys, you need to focus on building the nucleus of our team, right? We got Pickens, we got Lamb, we got Williams, we got Dak, we got a good young offensive line. All right, so what do we got to address on defense? If you can go find those guys, right? Like, those are the pieces and parts you want to add. To CeCe's point, though, you don't break the bank. You don't trade away a bunch of stuff. You decide this is a development project. We're behind what we thought we were, but we're going to figure this thing out. Because right now, don't go chase good money from bad money, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you would be doing, trying to go find one player. It's a rental.
Well, first of all, they only gave him a 7th-round pick for him, so let's get that out the way. They ain't give up the farm for him, so I think that's important to point out. But the other thing that's important to point out, which is a blemish to the Cowboys, yet another, is the fact that You're getting this guy from the Bengals, the only defense in the National Football League worse than the Cowboys, okay? And even though this guy has had 100 tackles each of the last 4 seasons, he's seeing reduced playing time. So you're bringing somebody on board that's coming from a worse defense than you already have, that, oh, by the way, is now seeing his playing time cut. These are not good signs. These are not good signs.
By a rookie.
It's not great. You bring up Trey Hendrickson, too, who's an outstanding player, but another player that would be coming from the Bengals who doesn't have the NFL.
But Hendrickson is he's a third down guy. Like Hendrickson does not need to come in and try to play 3 downs. Like because of his age and where you are, that's what the Cowboys got to figure out is what roles can the guys we have play, and if they don't have roles, let's move on and try to put plant guys in the right.
We're going to move on as well, but we're going to stick with Jerry Jones because before he was at the game and sitting with Stephen A. and making headlines yesterday, again, as we say, he joined Stephen A. on his radio show.
Team. I mean, Bill Parcells once said, "You are what your record says you are," and their record says they're not a very good football team and average at best. This is a big blow to this franchise and this team because, they really felt coming into tonight, playing Arizona at home, they've played well at home, that they would win this game. They've got the bye coming up. Then they travel to Las Vegas to take on the Raiders, that they could kind of dig out of the hole that they had dug themselves. And I don't know what the trade announcement's going to be tomorrow that Jerry Jones has announced that they've made one. But it's hard to imagine that guy, whoever it might be, is going to make a difference for this team. They're much further away than that. But that was all kind of predicated on being able to win this game and feel good about things as they go into the bye. But right now, there's not a lot to feel good about.
We do know what that trade is, Dan.
They will acquire Logan Wilson, the linebacker from the Cincinnati Bengals, in exchange for next year's 7th-round pick. So this is a position where they've been looking for help, and this is a player on the Bengals that had seen his playing time drop. They have a rookie, Barrett Carter, they like better. So he had asked out, made a lot of sense. We'll see what else the Cowboys do today. If this only cost them the 7th-round pick, they're still positioned to make other moves to help their defense.
So that's what I always say.
Nobody had any reaction to that.
Well, when your defense is struggling, you got someone who got benched on Cincinnati.
Yeah.
For the only defense in the league that's worse.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's why we're quiet, because no one wants to be disrespectful to Logan Wilson. Like, I'm sure he's a good player, and he's going to improve their defense. But what doesn't make sense is why are you doing this now for this team that's going in the other direction? And this isn't a player that's going, like, they need to replace Micah Parsons. Like, they need to replace a game changer, and that's not what you think of when you see Logan
I'll
Wilson.
say this, too. And far be it for me to offer any advice to Jerry Jones. He's a billionaire 100 million times over and incredibly smart and all the rest of that. But if you're going to tease a trade this much, it can't be this. If I go to a break saying, coming up next, we're going to have the biggest news in the history of mankind, and I come back, and it is the Cowboys have traded a 7th-round pick for Logan Wilson, you're not going to pay attention the next time I tell you we have really big news.
That's why he's the best there is.
Yeah, he is.
That's why
we were ready. He's better at teasing than I am.
Yeah.
And that, so there you have
30 years of teasing. Let's go. Attaboy, Jerry.
I do think
so bad.
We should set aside some time very briefly this morning also, because someone said in this conversation that the Cardinals beat them with their backup quarterback.
Yes.
And he is their backup quarterback. But I think it does beg the question when you watch them play, should he be?
I mean, when you watch them play the last 3 weeks with him as the starting quarterback, they have performed better on the offensive side of the ball. So when I say I believe that Jacoby Brissett should remain the starter, that's not to say that Kyler Murray at some point cannot regain and be the franchise quarterback. I just believe when you're...
Các bạn bây giờ mình sẽ mời các bạn đang trên khăn cuộn.
But,